Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Lenders Gone Wild podcast. I'm glad to be back in the studio, joined today by friend and colleague Daniel Bellamy. Daniel, welcome to Lenders Gone Wild, buddy.
Thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah, all the way from Houston, Texas, hanging out with us here in Arizona.
Yeah.
Enjoying some spring training, getting a little bit of time with the team in. So, tell me just a little bit of your background, we've worked together here for a little over a year now, but before that, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's the professional journey in mortgage look like to this point?
Yeah. Wow. So, kind of going all the way back to the very beginning. So I've been doing this about 10 years now.
Okay.
But I've kind of operated in just about every single capacity I think that you can. As an employee in the mortgage space. So I started off in a call center. So I was smiling and dialing.
Yeah.
And it was a really good way to kind of get an introduction to the industry because you were forced to learn.
Yeah.
And so started off there, really kind of started to fall in love with what it was, like the meaning behind what we were doing, getting people into homes and just kind of helping people achieve that goal of home ownership. And so really kind of started to fall in love with the concept of what I was doing. Call center itself, that has its own things.
Yeah.
Its own trials and tribulations. But that got me into really wanting to explore more opportunities within the industry. And so from there, kind of moved over into document drawing and kind of pre-processing sort of things. Okay. So I was helping people get documents out for signing and helping those loan officers.
Like closing.
Yeah, kind of like some pre-closing stuff. Mm-hmm. And then that was when I was still over in California, based out of a company in Irvine. And then from there, I went and worked for Loan Depot for a little while as a funder.
Okay.
So I was funding about 180 loans a month. Just kind of
How fun's that, just sending those giant wires?
That's so fun. Well, a lot of it was also making sure that people were actually signing their documents correctly.
Yeah. Right.
That was another, that's its own set of things. I mean, every single kind of position in this industry you have your own little set of nuance or quirks that you have to kind of navigate and figure out how to do it. And so was doing that. There was a shift in the market and Loan Depot laid off like 3,000 people at one go. And so I was a part of that. And started working for a smaller, more regional lender, but got brought in as a funder, but then kind of requirements or duties that they needed shifted, so I moved into post-closing and shipping.
Oh, fun.
So I was actually doing the deliverables on the loan, making sure things actually got purchased, and getting that taken care of. And then after that, I kind of decided, I was like, I don't really want to be in California much longer. And so looked at moving out to Texas, had some friends, some community there already. So it made it a really easy move.
Gotcha.
And that change and that shift kind of marked the shift in trajectory for where I'm at now in my career. So I started off there as like a loan officer assistant. And I was two-person branch manager, and then myself. And just kind of fell back in love because I always knew I wanted to be in sales.
You want to be on the origination side?
Yeah, I wanted to be on the origination side. I liked being the face of that kind of transaction, or being the person that's the problem solver. Yeah. Being able to help people navigate the purchase of a home, especially some of the more complex side of it when it comes to financing.
And having done all the rest of the back end, right?
Yeah.
The ops side of it.
Yeah,
it
gives
you
me a really
perspective and an ability to.
Yeah, a really unique perspective in kind of understanding the entire process from very beginning to the very end. Yeah. And so took all of that kind of skill set and knowledge that I had and applied it to being an LOA. And I was an LOA for, about 4.5 years. My title was LOA, but really I was an assistant kind of branch manager. I ran everything. I did marketing, I did lead gen, I worked the relationships with agents, the whole nine. Stepped in to process if things got crazy back in 2020 and 2021, where it seemed like everybody was doing 15-hour days because
Yep.
we just couldn't stop the amount of refinances coming in. Good
Yeah.
problem to have.
Right.
But afterwards, man, I was exhausted. I was like, I just want a nap.
That was a long year.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then from there, you and I started kind of connecting
Yep.
back in, goodness, it was 2023 now is when we
Yep.
first started talking.
Yep.
And we talked for a little while before I even really kind of.
Yeah, right. Because I
Made
think Shannon introduced us. Right, she was
Yeah.
trying to launch her marketing strategies in your market.
Yep.
Right, and she was also looking to add LOs to. I think back then, right, it was the rev share model, the original rev share model. We were at Essex. Yeah.
Yeah, and then that kind of shifted over to Clear, and then it got to a point where I had a little bit of an epiphany, and it was really kind of right around my. It's going to sound weird saying this, but my 30th birthday. Most people are like, "Oh, you're 30?" I'm like, "Yeah." And so
Is that because they think you're older and
They
wiser,
usually-
or because you're more childish?
That
What's the disbelief?
that could go either way. No, it's funny when I'm talking to people on the phone and
Yeah.
they're like, "Oh, so how old are you?" I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
now I'm 31," but they'll be
Yeah.
like, "I'm 30," I'm 31, and they're like, "Really?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, you don't act or sound
Yeah.
or present yourself that way
Yeah,
at
that's
all.
true. That's true.
I was like, "Well, thank you," and I'm like, "Hopefully." I look my age, but that's an entirely different conversation. So it kind of was right around that time frame. It was right Christmas, January. So my birthday's in January. It was right around there where I just kind of woke up. I was like, okay, turning 30, where I'm at in my career is not really where I want to be, and I need to make a change. And I either need to jump headfirst and dive in and just 100% commit, or I need to find something different to do.
Yeah, because I remember back then, right? You weren't even like allowed to originate.
No,
Right?
and that was
It was
kind of the
wasn't
big
part
thing.
of your role.
Yeah.
that was the step that you were ready to take.
Yeah, and that was one of the really deciding factors of like I need to make a change and I need to make it now, was because every time that I would have that conversation with the branch manager and like, hey, I want to take that next step. I want to become more of an originator and more of a salesperson, and step into that role, I'd get the runaround of, yeah, go ahead, start working it. And then as soon as I do that, because I'm going out and trying to get more business, it would require him to focus a little bit more on what his business was doing. And he didn't really like that. So I'd start it and then immediately get shut down. And so I was like, I just can't be doing this back and forth, this song and dance anymore. So made that commitment, made that shift, and that's when I came over and joined you guys at Clear. Kind of freaked people out because I'm on title. On paper, I went from loan officer assistant to originating branch manager. And
Yeah, because we were trying to get Nevada license back then, right? You had
Yeah.
some relationships in Vegas we were going to try to capitalize on.
Yeah, and so there was that transition, and it's funny because I look back at it now, and there's a couple of agents that have called me out. They've looked me up on production, and they're like, "You didn't really do much in the way of production last year or any of that," and like, how come? Like, are you a rookie? Do you know what you're talking about? And I'm like, we've had the conversations. Do you think I'm a rookie? And they're like, no.
Yeah.
And so it's
sometimes
just kinda,
those numbers lie, right?
yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, largely they're true, but it's your experience isn't just in the business that you transact in your name,
Correct.
right? It's in the people that you lead and the network that you've built. So,
Absolutely.
So fast forward, it's been a little over a year.
Yeah.
The Epic relationship has been a huge piece of your story, and so impressive with the way that you've taken and run with that. What are you, where are we going right now? What are you expanding and doing?
So my kind of big goals right now, obviously, is heavily focused on recruiting. With the footprint and the market share that Epic has, it's the number one priority is to make sure that I have a team of loan officers that are coming in and fitting that, I don't want to say mold, but just kind of, they have that mentality of, hey, I'm getting an opportunity, but I'm not going to just take it, sit on it, and that's the only thing I'm going to do. It's like, I'm going to take it and run with it. I want to build, I want to grow, I want to be successful, and really kind of create this story of success and be able to replicate that around the country. So as of right now, I think I've got like 4 or 5 loan officers that I manage in a number of different states. And as Epic is growing and our partnership is growing with them, or that relationship, I'm starting to bring in a number of other additional loan officers to come in and be able to take part in that. And they see the vision, they see what we're growing, and it's just creating a really exciting kind of time for that.
That's really cool. Well, and it's right, like the key being, right, like you find somebody that is in market that wants to go build relationships. So you're just opening the door, right? And then it's their job to kind of walk through it and go earn the business.
Exactly.
Right? They're not order takers. They're loan officers. They're mortgage professionals that are chasing and growing this in step with you. Which is really, it's cool that I'm doing that too, right? And it's kind of fun to watch and to see, like, in such short time, right? To have you really get to utilize your origination skills and passions and to grow that piece of your own production, but then at the same time create opportunities for others to grow theirs.
Yeah.
Right? And it's not been the easiest of, the last couple of years have not been the best years in our industry, right? Like, they've been tough. And so having taken that opportunity that was presented to you and then running with it, right? I've told you before, like, far exceeded any of my expectations, right? Like, I just real life, like, knew that there was some jumps that you were making, but not everybody takes that opportunity and runs with it the same way you're talking about the LOs that you're looking for.
Yeah, and I think that was kind of, I remember pretty early on one of the conversations that you and I had, really kind of starting to just talk about this partnership and what we're building and what we're growing and things to come, because I worked with you, for you in some capacity for about 4 months before the partnership even really kind of went live. Yeah. And a lot of that was, hey, this is a lot of relationship building. And so it was kind of funny because you and I talked and you're like, hey, I'm just going to give you the opportunity. I'm here to support you, but it's yours. Yep. Take it and run with it. I was like, if you give me a free reign, I'm going to take it and run with it. Oh, it's kind of funny to look at it now. It's like that partnership really kind of only launched April of 24. Yeah. And so we're not even at a year yet. And I mean, we have multiple LOs covering multiple marketplaces. I mean, we're closing. It's funny. People are like, oh man, it's so slow out there. I'm like, well, I'm pretty darn busy. But I think that goes to kind of speak to a testament about the people that we work with and collaborate with. And that's what is so great about working with you in some capacities. It's not so much of like, oh, I'm your boss, you report to me type situation. It's a lot more of a, hey, how do we work together? Yeah. How do we collaborate? How do we make this fun and enjoyable instead of just,
right.
You got a job to do, go do it. Kind of thing.
Well, and I think that's right. It takes the right personalities on both sides, but it's also a part of like recognizing, right, that singular point of contact at Epic, like the leadership there, right? When you met Sam and then Josh and then, right, and you kind of got to know that room at the top, and really did an incredible job of like just building a relationship with the people that help drive things. I think, a lot of times these expansions, they kind of get off track when everybody in the food chain is trying to like have their piece, right, and be involved and be important in all of that stuff. And it's like, no, man, you just go do it, right? And then now that these guys, right, have that relationship at the top, now as you go into each market, right, like it's a little bit easier.
It's much easier
because you don't have. But a lot of times that it goes the other way. It's like, hey, let's go find a team in a market and an LO in a market, and then we got to figure out like where to tie them in. And you have such an invested and present leadership team that you work with too. It goes a long way.
Oh, 100%.
A long way. But you helped create that, right? Like you had to go do the work and make the investment again for months. And then we had to write the checks to go to PowerCon,
Yep.
inaugural PowerCon, and like it's been a smashing success, in a lot of ways with the way that they've grown and the way that you've grown alongside of them. So
Yeah, and it's kind of funny just looking back now at the first PowerCon that we did. Just kind of like we didn't really know what to expect.
No.
And then we got up on stage, we made our announcement, we talked about it, and that was a little nerve-wracking because nobody there knew us except for Sam, Josh, Chris, and Janice, and maybe a few other key people from like the logistics side of things. Like, hey, this is where you need to be at what time, and like that's it. But nobody else knew.
Well, to that point, like I literally the only person in the room that I knew is you and Sam.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And just kind of going from that, and then I remember the happy hour. The hotel was not too pleased with us because we were definitely over capacity.
It would have got shut down if that was if there's a fire marshal around. That was a good time though.
It was a great time, and I think what's kind of catered or lend itself to this being such a successful partnership is like we make ourselves present. Like even though I'm at the top, like, agents call me all the time. Like, hey, this is the scenario I'm dealing with. How do I navigate this? Or, hey, I got an LO that I want you to talk to see if we can bring into what we're doing.
I love it.
And it's just being that singular point of contact on the mortgage side has made it keeps me very busy, but it's also makes it really simple. And that's, I think, one of the key features about it is the more simple it is, the easier it is to implement and execute at a much more successful level.
You have better adoption that way. Yeah. So that's pretty cool, man. What would you say is like your greatest accomplishment so far, if you could point to one thing?
Oh, man. Greatest accomplishment so far would probably be a lot of it ties back to this partnership, but the relationships that I've built. Like a lot of these agents, I mean, I'm friends with them. Yeah. It's not business anymore.
I love it.
And I think that's something that a lot of people have kind of lost, especially with COVID and everything going digital, remote, work from home, whatever the case may be. You kind of lose that luster of having that in-person relationship. Sure. I will say I personally feel like I've been pretty successful at navigating that because I'm talking to people all over the country. I'm not physically there with them, but they'll call me up and we'll just have a conversation. And it's not even sometimes about work. It's just, hey, how you doing?
I love it.
And so being able to have those relationships lends itself to success and being able to do what I do. And it's not so much of like a business or monetary accomplishment. It's more of a this makes me feel good kind of thing. And I think that keeps me grounded with this industry. I think a lot of people experience burnout. And so it's just one of those things where it's like, you know what, at the end of the day, I'm going to be fine no matter what, because these people are no longer just coworkers or colleagues. It's like I got a network of friends all over the country.
That's great. And so, that's really great.
Yeah.
Like that's one of my favorite parts about this job, right? Is the people and the relationships. And if you choose to, you can go really, really deep with people and create, like you said, friendships, not just partnerships. So I love that. I love hearing that and such a fun way to do this job, right? Like it's a hard enough job. It's a big.
We have to make it fun.
Yeah, right.
Otherwise, it's like
liking the people you work with goes a long ways towards having fun.
Don't get me wrong. There's been some agents I've had conversations with, and everybody does, where you're like, ooh, I might not talk to you again.
Yeah,
It is what it is.
I mean, name names,
you don't
right?
have to. Yeah, you don't have to like every coworker, but so
it's good.
But,
what obviously you've grown quite a bit, rather quickly. what would you say has been one of the more challenging aspects of your career or your growth? Or maybe it was before this season, but something that you kind of taken a good lesson from.
Probably one of the more challenging aspects, or it's more of a lesson that I kind of had to learn. And so when it comes to certain things, I'm a little bit of a perfectionist. It has to be right. And I had to come to terms pretty quickly with the fact that you can do everything right and it'll still go wrong. And there's a lot of stuff that's out of our control.
Sure.
We try to have as much control as possible.
Yeah. Right.
Because I've seen what some buyers or borrowers do without guidance, and it's a little. I'm like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
And so being able to just kind of take a step back and be like, it's just being able to kind of disconnect, like, hey, this isn't my fault. I can't control every aspect of everything. That was something that was hard for me to kind of come to terms with, because it's just, I know there's a way to solve it.
Yeah.
Very much a problem solver. And sometimes it's just, you get dealt an unsolvable problem.
Sure. Right. I mean, we've all been there, right?
Yeah.
The guy who, didn't pay his car payment and then the refresh happens.
I got one recently that just kind of blew my mind, where it was a state tax lien for $250,000 from the 90s. I'm like, where did this come from?
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh yeah, he's like, oh, I didn't tell you about that. I'm like, no.
Yeah, most clients don't lead with that one, right?
Yeah,
when you're trying to talk them through the home buying process.
And I'm like, are you paying this? Or he's like, yeah, I'm on like a monthly payment plan. I pay him $60 a month. I'm like, California is okay with that?
$60 a month. Yeah. They're going, we'll get every dollar we can get, because if we don't take anything, we're not going to get anything.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. And so I was like, well, we have two options.
Wow.
You either try to get that paid off, or you get a release lien or something. But it's just, and there was no way I really would have known about it. And he was under contract, and we did a tax lien or a lien search and title, and it just popped up. And I'm like, this would have been good to know, especially considering that lien was more than what the house you're buying was worth. Like,
crazy.
Man. So it's just every once in a while you get some of that stuff where that just pops up. You're like, how?
Yeah.
But again, not something I can control.
This job will keep you humble, right? Like, I struggle with that too, right? Feeling like I'm right, or I'm smart enough to fix everything, and right, there's a way to turn everything into a yes, and maybe that's not true, right? Like, there's certain things to your point, you can't control, right? So we really are more like, oh dude, sorry. We really are like project coordinators, right? Like we need title to do their job, we need the appraiser to do their job. Good luck telling those guys they're wrong, by the way, right? We need everyone to do their job, right? The clients got to get their insurance, so we need that professional. Like, there's not to mention the agents, obviously, and their teams. So you have a whole bunch of people that, yes, we write the big check at the end, and we create the mortgage that makes the purchase possible, but all the pieces that make up a full mortgage file are largely things that we depend on other people for.
Absolutely.
Not even just the client. Like,
I like the project manager, project coordinator analogy is good. I've always kind of thought it's like, how do I make it a little bit more everyday? We're quarterbacks.
Yeah.
We're the quarterback of the deal. We're calling, we're directing people on where to go, we need this play to. We all have the same end goal, getting into the end zone and scoring a touchdown, but it requires a team of people that really we
That's
have
a good
to.
Analogy.
Yeah, we have to call the shots. Like, hey, this is what I need. This is when I need it by. This, that, and the other thing, and just trying to wrangle that all together amidst the chaos of everything else that's going on.
Yeah,
it's like we're quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we've got
with a lot of audibles.
A lot of audibles, and trying to, and that low appraised value is the dude doing the going for the sack. I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, it's like
Sometimes you can't overcome those.
no,
So
no, exactly.
what was like a goal or something that you look forward to as like, this is what I really want to accomplish in my career. This is my like arrival, right? I mean, arrival fallacy is a real thing. So,
Yeah.
right, you'll get to the top of the mountain and realize it keeps going. But what do you have your sights set on right now?
So I'm very kind of much a realist. So I like to I have big goals and aspirations, but I like to break them down a little
Yeah.
bit. It just helps it's like, okay, keeps it real and makes it
Yeah.
like a little bit more like, all right, how do I actually attain this goal? But one of the kind of big aspirations I have right now is I'd like to have physical presence of loan officers that are under my leadership or my management in 49 states.
Dang, let's go.
I want to be able to cover
Good thing we went to Canopy and we can go to 49 states now.
exactly.
What's the one that we're not in?
New York.
Yeah,
They have some interesting requirements. So
I'm probably gonna keep it that way.
yeah. So I'm not too peeved or hurt about that one.
Yeah.
New York can keep their funkiness, and we'll just do business everywhere else.
Yeah, let's go.
And so yeah, I'd like
All
to,
the New Yorkers are thumbs downing this podcast right now.
it's okay.
Okay, so we're sort of clear.
Yeah. Well, I mean, New York doesn't like California. It's the whole West Coast, East Coast rivalry thing for a
Yeah.
while. And so I picked the middle, and now I picked the third coast, Gulf
Yeah.
Coast.
Well, you have your own country down there, the People's Republic of Texas.
Yeah, that is very true. It's
So-
a very proud state.
yeah.
Don't mess with Texas. But no, so that's kind of the big goal and aspiration right now is because of the partnerships and the things that I'm building and kind of those relational plays, being able to implement those at such a high level requires boots on the ground. So it's like
Yep.
it's not only a measure of success for myself being able to say I can do that. I can manage a team of 50 or more LOs covering the entire
You're
country.
gonna need some help, by the way.
Yes, I am. And it's not only that, but it's creating opportunity where I can kind of take that partnership or that any other sort of ventures that I want to kind of start to branch out in and create opportunity. I can come back and be able to give back to my team, create opportunity there and say, hey, this is something that I'm doing and I'm handing back out to you guys to go and create more opportunity in your business. And I think that is just one, like you said, the arrival fallacy. I think that's just the start of it,
Yeah.
is being able to have that sort of footprint and that kind of team to support the production that these partnerships and these relationships create is just the beginning.
Yeah, I love it. Right. Well, and it's people, right?
Yeah.
It's not it's not a number on a W-2 or ranking or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. It is, you're gonna help open up doors and change lives and launch careers and make opportunities happen for people that they don't even recognize yet.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we don't even know how big it could be.
Mm-hmm.
They might not even know that they need that, right? And you're gonna be able to do that through what Epic's doing, what you're doing alongside of them, what Canopy makes available to us. It's gonna be really, really fun to be able to do that, because you're gonna do that for people, not for you.
Yeah.
Right?
And that was kind of my sort of mentality that I've kind of carried through my career has always been everybody eats.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of, and I'm sure you've seen it. There's a lot of greed in this industry.
Yeah. There's a
It's always
ton.
gimme, 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 and it's never about. I've never wanted it to be about me. I've always like, hey, let me help you, because that kind of relationship is one so much stronger, and it creates a lot of it's hey, we're in this together. There's a little sense of loyalty there, and having those type of people be involved in that growth and, hey, I'm going to bring you along with me whether you're ready for it or not. It's just a fun place to operate in, and kind of having that mentality has really kind of helped create some of the opportunity that some of the people on my team are already experiencing, what I'm experiencing myself. Because I can't do it all. I gotta lean on people. I gotta rely on people. I rely on you.
Yep.
And so it's fun.
It is.
And that's the only thing I can do is just to make it more enjoyable. I just gotta have fun with it.
That's good.
So.
Well, and it goes back to those relationships, right? And the depth of them, and finding people you enjoy being around, and being in the trenches with every day, so to speak. So that's really good, man. So tell me just a little bit about like what you think is next for Epic.
Oh man. I mean, they add stuff so quick, and they're always launching something new. It's hard to even kind of keep up on my end, even with how ingrained
They
I
got
am.
new benefits every time you turn around.
Every time there's an announcement, it seems like almost every couple months there's something new, and it's not just one. It's usually like a chunk.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, here's 10 more. Oh, here's 10 more, and then by the end of the year, it's like, oh, they've launched an additional 30 benefits.
Yeah.
It's like, great. All right, how do I kind of navigate this in the conversations that I'm having?
I gotta go get a real estate license.
Honestly, yeah, it's like you guys might save me some money sometimes. So, because I mean, some of the benefits that they have are just
phenomenal.
I mean, the child care. I mean, it was funny. People always talk about it because I hear about it because I talk to agents that are outside of Epic, and it's, is that brokerage that does the whole free car wash thing? It's like, yes. And so it's funny to see them get a little bit of ribbing for it, but it's creating conversations. People are talking about it.
Right, exactly. So if you remember it, right, then it's not necessarily a bad thing for the brand.
Yeah, what's the saying? There's no such thing as bad PR or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like,
it's true.
And there's no such thing as bad press.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's what they're doing. It's just so much more than like, it's a new brokerage. It's the shiny new thing. They are impacting the industry as a whole. Because I know people who I've never even once had a conversation with about Epic, like, have you heard about this brokerage? I'm like, yeah, I have.
I kind of know a couple people.
Yeah, I know a few people there. And it's funny because there's a couple agents that are like, it's just what they're doing. I don't know how they can do it and all this other stuff. And it's just, and they talk about it because I go to a lot of the events that they have, and when they're up on stage, they talk about it, and they call it a revolution.
Yeah.
And it really kind of is. They're forcing the industry to change.
So fun.
And
what a great thing to be a part of, huh?
Yeah. Kind of being involved and entrenched and kind of working side by side with these disruptors in the marketplace. It's a really fun kind of spot to be. And I know that they've been talking about going global and doing some international expansion. And then, like, I know they're launching Epic in Espanol, which is a really unique opportunity. And
shout out to Guillermo.
Yeah.
Thanks for running that, bro.
My guy.
Yeah.
And so it's fun because now I get to go and see what they're doing and building and launching, and then I get to come right back behind them and say, all right, here's how we're going to leverage what they're doing here to bring us to that next level. And so right along with them to be able to provide that same relational partnership with those agents and being able to assist them. So like being able to do a mortgage completely in Spanish-speaking LO, Spanish-speaking processor, docs in Spanish and English because compliance and things like that. But even the fact that we have the capability to do that build that is a lot of fun. So I try to keep an eye on what they're doing in the future. It's hard because they're constantly adding stuff.
Yep.
But it gives me opportunity. It's like, okay, they've launched this. Now I get to come in and build behind it and just kind of like that partnership, reinforce the strength in that relationship. of, oh, they're not just a preferred lender, they're not just a mortgage company that's there. It's like, no, we're here because we're invested in your guys' success and growth as agents. And at the end of the day, I think that's what helps make this such a good partnership. It's like, no, we're not just here to be a preferred lender. It's like, no, we actually want to collaborate. Like, how can we be better at our jobs to better assist you? And how does that, like, how do we tie it all together and just create
state brokers, area leaders, right? Yeah. We have these people that, like, we work really, really closely with to provide maximum value to the agents in the field, right? It's really cool.
Well, it's like perfect example. There was an event here in Arizona today that was about Epic and kind of relaunching Arizona and like an agent attraction event. And so I came in to kind of talk to the partnership with Canopy and what we're launching and what they were doing at Epic to kind of help reinforce and maybe even assist Epic growing some of their agent count. I flew in from that. I'm kind of on a little bit of a world tour, it seems like right now. So I was in California for a little bit, and I flew here just yesterday. Wow. Just yesterday to be at that event and be able to speak, and it just being able to have that relationship and like, hey, I'm going to show up, I'm going to talk, and like, let's drive this home and create opportunity to help them grow their agents and bring new agents into Epic, because for some, having that dedicated mortgage professional that they can call on that is ingrained with what they're doing might be that might be the golden ticket for some agents, because they might not get that somewhere else, or they're having to rely on other sources to get their information. It's like, no, we've got people, like, just call them up. And that's kind of
pretty cool.
That's fun.
Yeah, that's great, man. And learn a lot from being so closely tied to leadership, right? Like as you're leading and growing, and they're leading and growing, right? There's so much that happens synergistically there. That's, I think, really been fun to watch. And I'm there, but I'm not there. Like you're right.
Yeah, I get to take you to all the events and the fun. Yeah, you don't have to do the day-to-day thing.
It's fun. It's a great time.
Yeah, you like that. You like that.
It's a good partnership.
That structure. Okay.
Yeah, I love it. So, tell me when we're on stage, right? Like that's happy to be there.
Yeah,
it's fun. So, let's tell some stories.
All right.
I know you've done some doozies.
Yeah.
So you got anything fun, right? I mean, I've got. I don't want to always just tell my stories.
No, the random pop up 250,000 lien. That was kind of a
good
doozy.
One. Yeah.
I mean that was fairly recent. That was probably within the last couple months. I'm like, whoa, okay. One of the others.
Yeah, I had one of those, by the way, but it was a student loan. It came back on Cavers.
Nice.
So it was defaulted student loan for almost $300,000.
Yeah, I had.
And the guy's like, "Oh, you know what? I'll pay it." I was like, "What?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I'll pay it."
Where are you getting that cash from, buddy?
Why haven't you been paying it for 15 years, bro? Right? Like,
yeah. Oh man, the amount of red flags that would raise, especially if all of a sudden it gets paid off.
In fairness, he was relocating from California, and it was a pending sale situation. So
got it. Okay.
We just put a little bit less down.
Yeah, there you go. No, I've had some. It always seems to be some of the student loan ones that kind of get a little funky. I had one where this woman, elderly woman, really nice lady, was basically trying to get pre-qualified for a house, nothing exorbitant, but her sole income was student loans. She lived.
I'm sorry, what?
Yep. She lived off of student loans.
Did she go to class?
She was still attending college at like 73 years old. And I asked her, I was like, so when are you going to graduate? She's like, I'm working on my PhD. I'm like,
Which one? Like 8, 9 of them by now?
Yeah. And so she had no job. Would basically just take out student loans, and that's how she would pay her bills, food, housing, the whole nine. total student loan debt was over $700,000. And I was like, I can't touch this at all. There's nothing I can do.
Yeah. Are you sure you're not a physician? Right? I got a loan. We can
Yeah,
look the
right.
other
It
way
was like
on.
I got a doctor loan program that's really great. So that was one of the ones where I'm like, how? Like there's some situations
At some point, like, aren't the institutions culpable, right? Like,
yeah, it's like,
you know
okay.
what I mean? Like, come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, and then I had one where there was an attorney. He was making $90,000 a year, but had over $1 million in student loan debt. I'm like, what law degree did you get? Because making $90,000 a year and over $1 million in student loan debt, you might be in the wrong wrong practice. But it's just
Yeah, you see all kinds of crazy stuff, right?
oh yeah, it's just people trying to.
I remember I once had a couple, like this. You know, the agents sometimes are like, "Hey, I just need this pre-qual right now. Like, just have a quick convo, right?" And so I call this client, and husband and wife both been at their jobs for like 5-6 years, super solid, salary alone, right? No bonus or overtime. They're both making north of $200 a year, just salary.
Wow.
Okay, buying their first house. Got money in the bank, down payment's not an issue.
Yep.
Like, this should be real simple.
Yeah, on paper it's clean cut.
I just need you to fill out this link, right? And we'll run the credit and we'll call it a day. But this should be really fast and easy. Tell the agent, like, this should be a slam dunk.
Yeah.
And run the credit. They make $400,000 a year. When I run the credit and import the liabilities, the DTI doesn't qualify.
Man. What are they spending their money on?
Like 16 credit cards, 4 cars.
Yeah, just living above
Few
their means.
student loans.
Yeah. There's been,
I'm like, right? So, money doesn't fix everything, right?
Yeah. No.
Right? But it's like, and they're like, well, we can afford it. And they're like, you can. Right? You just don't also have a $2,000 mortgage added to it anymore.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, and that's just kind of one of those things where it's like, I've had some conversations where it's like, we need to go through your budget because I don't understand.
I mean, we paid those things off and got them to qualify.
Yeah.
Right? But
yeah, there's some times where it's like I'm having conversations with clients that they're making like $195,000. They've been at their job 26 years, and they have late payments on a car within the last 3 months. I'm looking at their debt to income ratio, and I'm like, where's the rest of your money going? And because
oh, dude, I asked that question once. Guess what the guy told me? He goes, "It's my B&B fund." I was like, "What is B&B?" You got any guesses?
No.
The first one's booze. The second one is female dog.
Yeah, I was gonna say, am I allowed to say it, or is this?
I was like,
is this kid friendly, or do we
I was
slap
like,
an explicit
yeah,
warning on this?
Yeah. So he's like, I can't afford that house. I was like, well, how about you just dip into this fund? He's like, nope.
It's like,
I was like, I can't change your priorities, bro.
Yeah, and that was so like I'll have that conversation, and it's like it's more of and how I kind of approach is like, hey, I'm just trying to figure this out so I can make this work on my end. And then by kind of going through it with them, they kind of start to have this self-realization of like, oh, I'm spending way too much money at McDonald's or the gas station.
Yeah, you get to counsel, right? And like, I'll tell you this, and right, we're kind of talking about this from a standpoint of like things that you kind of can't believe that you see, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of those stories where it's actual people that have never had anybody that took the time to invest in them, to teach, to coach, to educate, right? They've never had an advocate, right? So like home buying seems absolutely impossible because I can't figure out how to pay my bills.
Yep.
Right? So having somebody that like just is willing to take a role of counselor advocate, right? even if they never buy a house,
Yeah.
their life is better because of that introduction.
Yeah. And it's funny. It's kind of cliche. Everyone's like, oh, you're a loan officer or you're a mortgage originator. I'm like, I like to call myself more of a mortgage advisor.
Yeah.
Because I like to take a little bit more
Yeah.
of an advisory type role
Yeah.
to it. Because there are so many people who are like, I've never once thought I could do this. And there's no better feeling than being able to get someone to the closing table
Yeah.
and just be like, I never once thought in my entire life I would be able to buy a house, and you
Yeah.
made it possible,
Yep.
and you gave me the tools and the education that I needed to do it. Thank you.
Yeah.
That, to me,
Game changing, bro.
100% makes all the other
Yeah.
crap that we have to deal with worth it.
Yeah.
And it's those people that end up being clients for life.
Yeah.
And not only, if they might be one and done, like that's it. But those people are going to be your advocate, and they're going to go out and talk to their friends. They're going to talk to their
Yeah,
coworkers.
it's good for
and it's like-
business, but you know.
but at the same time, it's great for business, but that's not why I
Exactly.
take that step. It's like,
exactly.
because if I was in that situation, I would want somebody to do the exact same thing for me.
Yeah, 100%.
And so it's and that's the thing. It's like they don't teach this stuff.
Right. Well, and back to right, like we talked earlier about how, like, we're kind of like the project coordinator.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of times the hat we wear most is counselor. Right. Like,
Therapist.
Yeah,
Marriage
exactly.
advisor.
yeah. Try stay out of the marriage ones, dude. They
no,
get
those can get pretty hairy. But
Yeah.
it's everyone's like, oh, it's just you do that one thing and that one thing, and I'm like, no.
nah.
And it's always the people that are kind of on the outside that always say that. The people on the inside kind of get it. But it's a lot of fun.
It is.
I enjoy it. Everyone's like, oh, you're going to get out of the industry. You're going to find something different. I'm like,
Bro, you can't get out of this industry.
no. I'm like, I've been in it for 10 years now, I think. Yeah, October would be year 10.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get out.
Yeah. When Ben Andrews was on the podcast, he talked about that. Like, you can't get out of this business.
Yeah.
You just
I know,
can't.
I know some people that started in it. We worked together a long time ago. They left. They're back in it. And they're like, what are you up to? I'm like, same thing I was doing, just in a different capacity now, different title, but still in the mortgage industry.
Yeah.
Still, it's trying. There's definitely days where I'm like, man. But I love it at the end of the day. It's fun. It's a fun industry. No day is ever the same.
Yeah.
So, it's good times.
It's true. Yeah, it definitely keeps you on your toes. It's a lot of fun. But the work you do really matters to families.
Yeah.
Right? And like that's the thing that I think, everybody I talk to that done this for any amount of time, like that's the thing that is central.
Yeah, everyone's always like, oh, you're not saving lives. I'm like, no, I'm not saving lives, but I'm changing them.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and there's a lot of right when I look at this business, right? Like how much student loans do you have to get to be a mortgage a loan officer, right? Zero, right?
freak people out. I tell them I don't even have a college education.
Yeah, when's the last time you punched in?
Ooh,
Right.
yeah.
Okay. Right? Like you get to travel, you get to make money, you get like what do you want to do? You want to work from the beach? You want to work from the cabin? You want to work from Europe? Like
yeah, I mean, lately I've been working from airports, but yeah.
Right? 100%.
Yeah.
Right? You can do things in this
The
job.
flexibility this industry, this job provides is it's unparalleled.
That's why people don't get out, right?
Yeah.
It's like good luck having the amount of freedom you have and making the amount of money that's possible in a world where like there's not very many jobs.
No.
There's not.
Nope. Not at
So
all.
not that that's everything, but that it matters, right?
Well, and
it's
that's
the quality of life.
Yeah, I was gonna say it creates that kind of that balance. I mean, it's like, don't get me wrong, even when we're supposed to be not working, we're still working.
That's the downside, right? That's the trade-off.
Yeah, I mean,
is
it's like
there's
we're always on call.
There's no punch in, but there's also no punch out, right?
Yeah.
So
Don't call me at 2 a.m. though. I'm not gonna answer. I'm asleep.
yeah, I usually text you at 2 a.m. Right?
Oh no, not you.
Yeah.
I've got clients.
No, but I do.
Yeah,
I know I do.
Well, you're a night owl, and I don't answer, and then I text you in the morning when I wake up like a normal person.
Yeah. Thanks.
it's not my fault. Your sleep schedule's all over the place.
No, you are 2 hours ahead of me, so
That's true.
It's only midnight for me.
Yeah.
So,
But no, it's a lot of fun. The flexibility is great, but yeah, that no punch out can sometimes get in the way. But the amount of flexibility and the work-life balance that we have outside of that occasional 9 o'clock at night phone call, it's hard to beat.
it is. It's really great. So, any final thoughts? Parting words? Something you
Final
wanna share?
thoughts. I think one thing that we didn't really kind of talk a whole lot about was the transition over to kind of Canopy.
Okay.
I personally, from the very limited experience I have on it, man, that is a slick system, and just being able to utilize kind of some of the tech that's now available.
Yep.
I'm really looking forward to what this is going to create in terms of
I agree.
efficiencies.
I agree. And here's the thing, like growth isn't the thing, it's the families impacted, right? That is the thing. Like what I love about our experience so far is everybody understands, like the tech is phenomenal.
Yeah.
But the tech creates the opportunity to do loans for lower cost to the consumer,
Yeah.
right? Puts more money available to the loan officers to serve clients, right? To make investments in partnerships, right? We're helping agents grow, we're helping clients become homeowners, right? And we're doing all of that without as big of a check going,
In the wrong direction.
Yeah, correct. And it's that paradigm shift, right? This part of like your partnership with Epic being so beautiful is like it's how do we push more money to the street into the consumer, not take a bigger cut off the top.
Yeah.
And the tech allows you to do that more than it is, right? It is a great tool.
Yeah.
It is attractive, but what it creates is even more impactful.
Oh, absolutely. But not in that, but the flexibility of it, and like the fact that I'm not as tied down to LOS that shall not be named from.
Oh, bro, everybody knows.
Yeah, man,
Right?
Encompass is just
Everybody
the
knows.
worst.
Yeah.
So not having to deal with any
I
of
mean-
that anymore. It's just that alone is like, oh, that's such a weight lifted off my shoulders, and it's like,
I think
oh, I'm
Encompass is
excited.
I think
again.
Encompass is older than you are, bro.
It is.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it is.
Yeah.
Oof. Probably hasn't changed much since then, too.
I mean, you navigate that menu, you know.
Yeah. Not anymore. So
Cheers
no,
to that. I wish I had a glass. To
I know.
toast
We're
you
just doing water, but
Yeah.
no, it's just kind of everything that's happening right now. Just with Epic, our shift to Canopy.
Yeah.
Just kind of the general sentiment that I'm starting to hear and see
In the
in the
marketplace.
marketplace. I think 2025 is going to be a very formative year for a lot of people. I'm really
great.
looking forward to it.
That's great. Well, and I think, we've gone through a couple years of hard, and we've had a lot of licenses not renewed in both the real estate and the mortgage side.
A ton.
Right? You're going to have that cream rises to the top type of a thing, and putting yourself in a position where the company is aligned with that. The platform is built for that. Just allows you to continue to build those relationships, whether with the LOs that you lead and serve, or with the clients that, are becoming homeowners, realizing dreams, or right, whatever it is that we're doing to help them. Right, cash out refis are huge right now. Right, a lot of that consumer debt needs to get consolidated.
Yes, it does.
Right, so or move up to pay off debt. Right, like it's another strategy people are using. So, but it's going to be a fun journey.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great year, and I'm sure we'll have you back. Maybe after PowerCon, because I'm sure there's going to be some more things to talk about after that event in June.
I'm sure there will be.
And
Yeah, that's
any
going
of
to be
you
a fun
Epic
one.
agents out there, be there. We're going to have some fun things to talk about from the Canopy side. So
Yeah.
excited and looking forward to that. And thanks for being here, man. Appreciate
Absolutely.
you making the trip.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, awesome, buddy.
times.
Daniel Bellamy, thank you.
Thanks. Have a good one.
All right.